Yes, blood sugar problems. They're a major concern around the world. In some countries, up to 40% of the population are suffering with pre-diabetes, a condition that can lead to type 2 diabetes. In New Zealand, it's over 25%. This is a real concern, but there is a lot we can do about it. I'm going to explain some of the herbs that are inside a product called Satisfed that can actually help to regulate the pancreas, the insulin production, and control your blood sugar and food cravings all in one. So let's have a look inside. Okay, so the product's called Satisfed. Comes in a bottle with 120 capsules, so that's a month's supply. So it's got 6 amazing herbs in it that operate in all different ways to help to regulate your blood sugar, your insulin production, and the responses in general to food cravings, and glucose. So I'm going to share more detail on each of these herbs. We've got Caralluma, cinnamon, white kidney bean, Gymnema, Bitter Melon, and chromium. And you can see in this image how all the different mechanisms they have to help regulate and control your blood sugar, your food cravings, your insulin levels, and so on. So let's just have a quick look at each of these herbs. So Caralluma, this is the first one. This is a really interesting herb. It's native to India, and it's used in traditional ways over there for stamina. It's chewed as a food to keep you going when you've got no food. And the great thing with it is being a type of cactus. Cactuses can survive, as we know, for a very long time without water or nutrients. And they have this incredible ability to keep going. And that explains the stamina effect of Caralluma. But it also explains one other thing about Caralluma, which is it cuts food cravings. And it does this by helping to regulate the centers in the brain, the satiety centers in the brain. It also blocks fat formation, reducing fat formation by blocking an enzyme that causes fat formation, and it promotes fat burning. There's been clinical trials on this, showing significant reductions in body weight, BMI, body fat, and waist circumference. So it supports overall metabolism, but it's particularly good for controlling those sugar cravings. So we've got another craving cutter here. It's called Gymnema. This is often termed the sugar destroyer, one of the most remarkable herbs for balancing blood sugar and cravings. And it's known to help to regenerate or increase the function of the pancreatic cells. Supports pancreatic regeneration, helping to restore the beta cells responsible for insulin production. So in other words, it strengthens and rebuilds the pancreas, which is the main area that produces insulin and helps to regulate the blood sugar in your body. And there's some studies there for that. Decreased sugar craving by blocking the sweet taste receptors. So another thing Gymnema does is it affects the taste of sugar on your tongue. And if you have some Gymnema raw or some Gymnema extract and put it in your mouth, you simply cannot taste sugar at all. It just tastes like nothing. It tastes like eating cardboard. So in other words, the pleasure from eating sweet things is taken away, and you no longer have that craving for them. It's a very subtle and very clever plant, Gymnema. This is what amazes me about herbal medicine. Just the incredible complexity but simplicity of how these herbs work, built into them like it was by some incredible design. Then we've got some cinnamon. So cinnamon is a fantastic herb for regulating blood sugar and cholesterol. It inhibits some of the sugar dissolving or sugar digesting enzymes, so it reduces the sugar spike. There's a compound in cinnamon called cinnamaldehyde, which increases the sensitivity of the insulin receptors. It increases the response to insulin, so it helps the uptake of the sugars into the tissues and organs that are needing it. So you could take a teaspoon of cinnamon every day. A great way to do it is obviously in the capsules. It's a lot easier and simpler, along with all the other herbs that you get. Bitter melon. So this is a fantastic herb, traditional herb in Indian food, bitter melon, but it is really well known for decreasing blood sugar over time. It improves insulin signaling and glucose uptake to the tissues and organs, inhibits those sugar digesting enzymes, so it reduces the glucose spike. It activates glucose metabolism and fat breakdown, and it supports appetite control and satiety. And it's an interesting thing to note that these herbs are all bitter. So the Gymnema, the Caralluma, the bitter melon, they're all very, very bitter in taste. And it's this bitter taste that's sort of connected with the whole blood sugar control. Gets you away from that craving for sweet things and that constant sweet food habit, which is a really bad thing for the body and the digestive system in particular. So having these bitter herbs in capsules means you get the effect, But you don't actually have to eat a lot of these bitter foods. But I do recommend eating more bitter foods as part of the diet plan around controlling your blood sugar. And you'll find that on our type 2 diabetes and insulin resistance page, which I'll drop a link into the description. White kidney beans. It is known that a high fiber diet helps control blood sugar, but white kidney beans, and beans are very, very high in fiber, by the way, white kidney bean extract inhibits alpha amylase, the enzyme that breaks down complex carbohydrates. So it slows down carbohydrate digestion and absorption and reduces the blood sugar spike, lowers the effect of glycemic index of food. So it's a great way just to help regulate that blood sugar spike, is to use white kidney beans. And we just use this as a powder form and put it into the capsules. There's been several studies with white kidney bean use showing reduced blood sugar spikes and weight loss, which is really helpful because we know that blood sugar problems are often associated with being overweight or obese. Chromium, we include some chromium. It's not often I use minerals in our products, but for this one we've put a little bit of chromium polynicotinate, which is the best form to use. Chromium is known to support the insulin functions in your body in general and help the pancreas work better. And you can see this here. Enhances insulin receptor, glucose uptake, glycogen synthesis, conversion of glucose into body fat, and inhibits resistin. So resistin is a hormone that promotes insulin resistance. So it inhibits insulin resistance. So chromium is definitely worthwhile having in this product along with the herbs. So just flashing back to this overview, you can see here the 6 herbs and how they work in their different ways. It can be a little bit overwhelming at first, but the great thing with herbs is they come at things from multiple directions. And so you get this nice rounded sort of holistic approach to regulating that blood sugar system in your body over time. And they're perfectly natural, so there's no real issues with side effects or toxicity. And unless you were to consume the whole bottle a day, the great thing with herbal medicines is they actually can trigger healing and rebuilding and regeneration in the body, unlike pharmaceutical drugs. So we have found people that have been using the herbal products can come off things like their blood sugar medications, such as metformin, for example. Herbs have been used for thousands of years, but the great news is today we've got scientific validation for the claims that have been made over those centuries. You can take between 2 and 8 capsules twice daily, depending on your goals, but I recommend starting with 4 capsules a day, so you get a month out of the bottle, and you can take those capsules in the morning or in the afternoon or in the evening, depending on when you have your worst time as far as your blood sugar and food cravings go. So I hope that's been helpful and it's given you some insights into what you can do with herbs to regulate your blood sugar and prevent or even reverse insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes and get yourself back on track. Thanks for watching.